let's get into the LTNC 2022-2023 annual report that dropped last week. Big news, big time. All right. We just had the attorney letter drop, I believe, on Thursday, the last trading day of the week. So that's in OTC's hands. Over the weekend, the annual letter, the attorney letter was being updated. So I know there was work going into it over the weekend. Best case scenario, LTNC probably could be trading next week at some point, maybe later in the week. Monday is a little too soon, especially with a shortened week last week with Friday not being a regular trading day. But, if you talk to Ryan Chadell, the old owner of LTNC, he says, 7 business days, if not less. All the things are in order. So now we just have to wait. And so in the annual report, they had some financials. They had some other business operational type things we're going to get into. So here are some of my notes. We had $850,000 in sales in 2022, which is pretty good. 2022, that's almost $1 million. It was cut in half to 400,000 in 2023 for obvious reasons. We changed our name from Next Level to LOCK'DIN. Half the year, we weren't even selling product because we were making that transition. Lawsuits with the brand name and things like that. So it cut us in half. But I believe we'll be able to bounce back, especially this year, with better sales. Will it be 850,000 again in 2024? I'm not sure, but it'll be closer to that than it was to 400,000. What needs more work is the cost of products sold. It costs way too much currently to produce the product. Tom has said at the shareholder meeting in Las Vegas that this is a game of economies of scale. The more we sell, the more efficient we get, the costs will ultimately get lower. And you can even see that within the files, right? In 2022, we sold 800,000 in product with our cost of goods our cost of goods lower than what our sales was. So we actually had a gross profit of 90,000. Now, sales in 2022, obviously we were bringing in new products. We had to change manufacturers of the cans multiple times and whatnot. It cost us more to sell our product. So we were a negative gross profit of 142,000. We made 400,000 sales. Cost of product sold was 547,000. So the more we sell, the more volume we generate, that's going to naturally go down, because when you buy a truckload of LOCK'DIN, that's going to cost less per can than just buying a pallet. Just simple economies of scale. But what's nice is from 2022 to 2023, less admin expenses, no bad debt in 2023, which is great, and we are saving $2 million in advertising and marketing. And in my opinion, I think most of that was coming from the pay to play in retail, the PFL, which you have to pay to be in the arena. And so with us going the direct to consumer route, it's a lot less expensive. And you see that with the advertising and marketing, we only spent 27,000 in 2023, which mostly was probably from the Facebook ads. And according to Tom, according to Victor, who was working on the marketing on Facebook, it's doing really well. I've done some Facebook advertisements in the past with some clients, small businesses in my area, and Facebook ads is a really good tool to get your product out there, your business out there. And it's a cash cow for Facebook. If you are looking for any blue chip stocks, I'm personally not invested in Facebook, but what's interesting is they offered a 50-cent dividend for the first time in its history this year. Mark Zuckerberg finally breaking that seal for being a cash flow machine, and most of it's coming from Facebook ads. Businesses put money in the system, Facebook casts out the advertisements at the targeted audiences that the business wants, and you get results back if you know what you're doing. And so I like the direct to consumer route with the niche marketing. I think it's more bang for your buck and it can grow over time. And there was $500,000 less in professional fees, but we have to understand from 2022 to 2023. Um, but we have to understand that expense did not go away. It just moved to another line item in our earnings report in our balance sheet. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of money. You know, in 2022, we spent almost $900,000 in professional fees. In 2023, we spent 300, almost 350,000. But to pay for this professional help, you know, with the attorney letter, legal fees, accounting, you know, people still need to get paid. But we paid them in a different way. And before we go on to the next slide, I just want to let you show you guys. I have 1,555,055 shares of LTNC. My cost per share is 1.25 cents. I'm down 76%. I've been transparent with that throughout this whole journey, the last 3 years. Of course, when we become tradable again, I've already said I'm not telling anybody when I'm selling, but you know, I'm not selling for just pennies. All right. You know, I've waited a long time. I put a lot of work in and I want to get a good return on this investment. It's a penny stock. So, you know, a 2x, 3x, 5x, that's kind of small time. I'm thinking larger. I'm thinking at least a 10x, but that's all you get out of me. And what I'm thinking maybe my first sales are. So we'll see. Going into the next slide for the LTNC 2022 report, we got, you know, dramatic drop in outflows from 2022 to 2023, which is great. You know, the inflow of cash from financing activities, 541,000 came from the redeemable stock that we gave out. All right. And then 160,000 came from the direct private investment for cash. And so this is where we talked about in the last slide where that $500,000 of professional fees came from. You know, even though it's technically an inflow of cash, it's actually redeemable stock. So we paid the professionals collectively $500,000 of redeemable stock that is not in the float yet. So they would do their services for the company. All right. So that's important to know. You know, it doesn't go into the expense column. It goes on the inflow column, but it still affects the stock whenever they get redeemed. And I'm assuming as soon as we get tradable, they're going to want to get those redeemed out. And we'll get into how many shares those are in a little bit. 160,000 came from direct private investment for cash. Now that's actual liquid cash. So when we actually go into who invested within the company, there was two people that invested in the company. One invested 150,000 in the company cash for shares. Another person 6,000, and so that's cash on hand. And then when you look at the assets on the book, we have about $97,000 of that cash still on the books. And so during the year December 31st, 2023, the company owed a total of $1.72 billion shares of common stock value at 541,000 for services. So what that means is for those professional fees, we didn't have to pay flat out in cash. They're in redeemable stocks. They're going to be coming out of shares. So it's 1.72, which means the float's going to be around 16. Well, not the float, the issued, the restricted, and the issued shares are going to be about 16.5 billion shares outstanding. Now, will that be on the float? Will that get straight to the float? No, I don't believe so because it's going to be restricted. But it still plays a role moving forward. And I have to say again, there's $25 billion shares authorized, but they're not in the float. They're just there in case the company wants to use them. And for a situation like this, that's why they had to raise up the authorized share count so they could pay professionals to do their services. So again, authorized shares does not mean it's actually affecting the float. We have issued shares, which is the restricted shares and the shares outstanding that's actually tradable. And then we have the float, which is just shares outstanding. The shares outstanding is about 7.89 billion. Right now, we're close to 8 billion in a tradable float. And right now, I don't believe that 1.27 billion will be in the tradable float, but they will be in the uh, issued shares for us. So a little bit closer into the cash flow, we have 97,000 on hand from that 160 inflow of money. Michael A gave us that 153K, so thank you for that. I mean, that helps. I mean, he got a lot of shares out of that too. But we need as much liquid cash as possible. And Justin H 6,000, so he's in the mix as well. And this gives locked in flexibility with this 5x in cash injection from 2022. And if you look at 2022's numbers, we had so many sales, right? But we only had $17,000 of cash on hand. You know, it's not a good look, especially for a beverage company. We should have low overhead. Danny is our water supplier for the hydrogen water, so we pay him to make our water. It's not like he's directly under our house. It's not like we own his factory. Same thing with our other nootropic products. We pay them to produce our product. It's a real like slim, flexible business operation. So we should be having a lot of cash on hand moving forward. We sell a can of water, we get paid for it. We should have a great majority of that coming back to us. All right. We're not a tech company. Okay. We're a growth company, but we're not in tech. We shouldn't have a whole lot of overhead. Research and development. Obviously, we have Joe that needs money to make sure that we're getting the best ingredients. We're getting the best formulas. But in all relative terms speaking, it's not that expensive. All right. That's why companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Keurig, beer companies, they have so much cash on hand and they're able to buy so many different companies from that grow and stuff. It's because it's the business model. All right. So keep that in mind. We want to see that cash on hand to continue to rise as we continue to make more sales. All right. We make more sales, the volume goes up, cost of product sold goes down. There's a nice gap in gross profit that we should benefit from. All right, and so let's get into some of the convertible notes, our debt that's still owed, especially to Tom and to James. All right, and so this is really important. So LTNC has two outstanding notes they have to pay off. The first one is Tom's note. Originally, it was $3,000, but now it's down to $127,000. From what I've read, Tom has been collecting his payments. He has not been collecting his payments since 2022. He has put the company first over his own monetary enrichment once he really got involved. And really, it's a team effort for getting locked in LTNC to this point. But it still needs to be said, without Tom stepping in when he did with the whole Jason and James situation, we would not be here right now. Thankfully, thank the universe, he was the senior note holder by the book to counteract James's claims of the debt he put into the company, the money he put into his company. So I want to thank Tom for that. He was the last line of defense as a senior note holder, because if James was able to just come in and wipe us out for his $2 million, we would not be here. And so we still owe James over $200 million. And both parties, according to the filings, both parties are in the settlement phase right now, negotiating a payback plan. So when you look at it, LTNC has around $2.5 million in notes, convertible note debts they got to pay off. one on Tom's side, the other on James' side. But once these are paid off, a huge weight will be lifted off the shareholders' shoulders. That does not mean we won't incur debt moving forward in the future. Obviously, debt's important to grow, but what type of debt are we getting moving forward? All right. Is it predatory debt or is it good debt to help us grow? And from all intents and purposes, from what I've experienced from the Jason and James fiasco, it looked like it was predatory on James and Jason's part, or it was predatory on Jason's part. James did not know the full story at hand, but it became predatory when his money was at stake. So that's what I got from the filings and from the lawsuits. All right, he didn't know the full extent, and he just wanted his money out. And so I'm glad we're going to get him squared away eventually. All right, so there's a final piece to this filing that is very important, and it's going to be the ownership, the institutional ownership of the board of directors and their sway within the company. And so notice how Manny has 250 million common shares at 1.6% ownership of LTNC. Due to breach of contract with Manny Pacquiao and his foundation, in which they were owed nearly $1 million, Manny decided to take payment of the breach in the form of $250,000 in cash and an extra 400 million shares in stock. They're restricted, but still, meaning Manny owns 650 million shares in LTNC. And so when you break that down, again, this is straight off what the float, with the restricted in the issue shares, restricted outstanding shares right now, which is still 14.8. That's not counting 1.72 that are redeemable. Those aren't in yet. But when you do the 650 million shares divided by the 14.8 billion shares that we have issued right now, Manny has 4.3% ownership of the company. Manny has major skin in the game and has all the motivation needed to make sure he gets his money back and more. All right. And what's important at the bottom, you'll see a little bit of gematria. Manny Pacquiao, 4.3% LTNC ownership. That equals 333 in English ordinal. Very powerful. Same with the 43, the 4 and the 3. And it goes all the way back to the next level days. You know, day 43 on the original 100-day challenge for Joe, Manny Pacquiao was announced. All right. And he's considered one of the GOATs. GOAT. GOAT equals 43 in the English ordinal. So 43 is very important within the saga. It's always come back up. And it's always associated with Manny Pacquiao. And 4 and 3 could be playing a role this week as well as we're going into April. And so this is going to be my last slide on LTNC. A little bit of prediction. Again, anything can happen. This matrix is large. So many variables, just many variables, and that's why I don't really like doing predictions sometimes. I just like to be in the right area. Am I on the right wave of thinking, right? And so I was doing some date numerology. I was doing some date calculations, right? And so I was thinking back to the first article that came out on March 1st, 2021, with Labor Smart Inc. completing acquisition of Takeover Industries. And on February 28th, 2021, the day before, the deal announced on live on Twitter via Ryan Shadell on Sunday, February 28th, 2021, calls for the issuance of 6.8 billion common shares. So that was the very first day, the life of Takeover and LTNC together. The first trading day was March 1st. The announcement was February 28th. So now let's get to the days, right? So again, I don't believe we get tradable tomorrow, April 1st, but there is still some symbolism behind it. So when we do Sunday, February 28th, 2021 to Monday, April 1st, 2024, it's 3 years and 33 days. All right. So we're in that energetic window. We're in that energetic window. But reality, this is my prediction. If you put my feet to the fire, again, I could be wrong. It could take longer. And I'm not going to be mad if I'm wrong. Again, when using gematria, when thinking of like higher spiritual numbers and stuff, you're not always going to be right. But are you in the right ballpark? Are you in the ballpark? So March 1st, 2021, the first trading day of takeover under LTNC to Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, which is Wednesday, which is more in line to put a potentiality of we're getting tradable, or we get news of being pink and being tradable the next day. So March 1st, 2021, April 3rd, 2024 is 3 years and 33 days. 333. Now, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going into this week. I'm seeing how it's going to play out. And the numbers, they look good. And I might add, it's going to be the 3-year anniversary tomorrow for the secret launch on April Fool's Day with Stan, the website launch, everybody buying product and stuff. So we're in this highly energetic window right now for the company. And a lot of things are happening, and I'm very excited. And moving forward, we have 3 business days. So we got the attorney letter in on Thursday. Technically, Friday wasn't a business day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this upcoming week, that's 3 business days, 43 in English reduction. And going back to day 77, remember, Joe has stated, we are on a 1,000-day race plan. This was June 16th, 2021. So if you do February 28th, 2021 to Monday, April 1st, 2024, it's 1,128 days. So we're in that 1,000-day race plan marker. All right. And if you take it to when Joe take his break, we're still a little under 1,000. But for everyone that's been a part of this journey, we're at that 1,000-day mark. And for some gematria, locked in LTNC pink current, April 3rd, 2024, 333 English ordinal. LTNC 1,000-day ritual completes April 2024, 333 English ordinal. So this is for LTNC. Again, timing is everything. I believed that we've been on a train track this whole time. I don't understand everything. I've been a part of this journey. Even the people that have been in power positions, executives within this company, we are all governed by higher powers. All right. This is Easter, people, the Christian faith, Jesus, God. We are all on a spiritual path. And sometimes we don't always understand what's happening or why we do things, but usually things work out for the best. And I use gematria just to peel back the layers and to understand where I'm at in the universe. And so we're in a highly energetic time right now for LTNC, and it's all coming to a head. My prediction, again, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I think we at least get news of pink current Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, which is 3 years and 33 days based off the first trading day of takeover under LTNC.